Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Anna. I am a portrait photographer in the Chicagoland area, and today I decided to take photos of someone that wasn't myself. So I was asked to take pictures of her and her boyfriend, and since I was going to be in the area anyway, I decided to go ahead and do the shoot. Now, since things are slowly opening up again, I decided to do it in their backyard only because I didn't want to be in a public place surrounded by a lot of people that I didn't know, so I thought their backyard would be the safest option. The equipment that I was using was basically the equipment that I always use, which is the Canon 6D and an 85mm lens. Since I was going away from my home, I didn't have my flash with me and it was a bit too much to carry, so I decided to just use all natural light. I pretty much asked beforehand to provide some pictures or examples that she wanted to go off of, and then from there we just decided to go along with the shoot and kind of improvise. Once we had finished all of the photos, it was time to just go straight into Lightroom and begin editing. So this is the photo that we're going to be editing today, and this is the before picture. Obviously, as you can tell, it's very bright, and we're going to need to bring that down a little bit, and this is the after. So as you can see on the left hand side, you have a histogram, which basically tells you if something's too bright or too dark. Usually you'll see a giant spike, as you can see in the blue on the left hand side. So majority when you're looking through when you're looking at a histogram and you're trying to edit your photo, you want to have majority of the histogram to appear in the middle of the photo and not have any spikes. So the first thing that I did when I went into Lightroom and started editing is to bring down that exposure. You can see that it's very bright when you initially take that photo, so I decided to bring that down, as well as the highlights, because usually those go hand in hand and tend to be bright if the exposure is bright as well. I also wanted to bring the shadows back up because I wanted to bring back that detail that we were missing in the white washed out portion of the before straight out of camera shot. It was a warm day when we were taking these photos, so I really wanted to bring in the warmness back in. So in the temperature slide, I went ahead and made it a little more yellow to make it more warm, and you can see there's trees behind them, so I decided to bring the vibrance back up. In the before picture, you can see that there's this light right above her head, and I think that it can be a little distracting, so I decided to go into the healing brush and just tap over it so I can hide it and make it a little less noticeable. Other than that, I decided to just get rid of a little bit of blemishes on both of their faces and move on to selective edits. So in the selective edits, I pretty much do the same thing that I always do. I went ahead and brightened their eyes. Obviously, as you can see, a little easier to show the definition in them compared to someone who has brown eyes, but usually what you do is you just draw over them and bring in the exposure and the clarity. I could tell in the beginning with this before portion that their lips became a little desaturated, so I went ahead and drew over their lips and brought the tint back in, so that way instead of washed out lips you have a little bit of pink that appears naturally. The last thing that I did is I just kind of made a giant circle around them, and the great thing about Lightroom is that you can invert this. On the left hand side you can see a black and white box, so you just essentially toggle between those, and you can decide if you want the edit to appear inside of the circle or around. So one of the tips that I have when it comes to photographing couples is to make sure that both parties are enjoying themselves and having fun. The reason why I want to keep cracking jokes and making sure that they're always happy and satisfied is usually if they seem disinterested or they start to get bored, it can tell in the photographs. So make sure that every time you want them to get pretty close to each other, just crack a couple jokes or say a couple things that'll make them laugh. Usually if they have some inside jokes, that's something that I would recommend them like saying or doing something that'll make the other person laugh. That usually is the best trick to make them enjoy themselves. The client that I had was pretty energetic and fun to photograph, so it wasn't really that hard for me to keep them engaged. One thing is to make sure that you know when the fun stops and when you basically have to take photos, because you have to remember that you are getting paid for this. So it's best to make sure you know the difference between having fun and staying professional. So it's easy to have them crack a couple of jokes and then while they're laughing, take a couple photos, but then also make sure that you're being a little stern and making sure that you're actually getting the photos that you need. Another tip that I have for you is to take more photos than you think you'll need, usually because looking in the viewfinder or looking through the photos on your camera is a completely different experience than looking at the photos through your laptop or your iPad. So I would overestimate on how many photos that you need, so then that way you are able to find the perfect shot with each photo shoot that you're taking. With all of that said, that is the end of this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified every single time I post a new video. If you're interested in similar photography related videos, I will have them listed down below, and I've created a playlist for you to be able to watch. I hope everyone is staying safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.